So I mean, yeah, they can, yeah, if you for the contract, if you negotiate 3% that they're paying your closing cost, that 3% is over here, okay? If you can negotiate that they're paying your owner's title policy, that's even better. That's, you can add that on top. And if they're paying for the survey, that's more. If they're paying for the home warranty. So I mean, that's where, and it is, she's right, it is tough in this market because when people put a house on the market, there's offers left and right. So your negotiation power is a little less, but you can still negotiate. You can do anything, and that's what she does behind the scenes. You're going to make an offer, she's going to sit there and fight for it and go, guys, you know, everybody does this. Everybody gives seller concessions. You're not going to find a house, you know, that doesn't have a seller concession. Probably 99% of the loans I do on purchases have some sort of seller concession, where the seller's paying part of the owner's funds, title policies, everything.
No, normally if it's a new home, typically the seller will offer like 1 year standard warranty. Is that included?
That's your builder's warranty. It's just like if you go buy a car, you know how you have your 3 years, 36,000 miles bumper to bumper. It's kind of what the builder's warranty is. They'll warranty your sheetrock versus any cracks, your foundation, all your electrical isn't warranted through the home builder, but it's warranted like if you have Whirlpool appliances. Whirlpool has a certain warranty on it. And when you buy that new house, man, you're going to get a packet up this thick of all the warranty stuff. But be diligent on it because if you're are y'all going to buy a new house?
Yeah.
Okay. Be diligent on it and take care of those things because, and know where your warranties are, because we just bought a new house 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago. Well, what I say new, the guy lived in it for 6 months. We took over his, and the warranties are all transferable. But we had air conditioning issues, and it just fell out of the 2 years, which stinks because now you're having to pay for it, but we had American Home Shield, so we paid $45 for our copay. American Home Shield paid for everything. So I mean, that's the beauty of the home warranties.
Richard, let me interject for just a
Absolutely.
minute. As Richard said, be careful with these warranties. If you guys are buying a new home, there is a 1 year contractor's warranty, but there's also in the state of Texas what they call a 2 and 10, and that's basically on your structure.
Yes.
And the structure is like the foundation, and also I believe the roof is included in that as well. A lot of people are not aware of that, but that's the builder's responsibility. If, you know, after the first year, and you got to be responsible too, because there are some things that you have to, you know, you have to participate in, like you got to make sure that your sprinklers, you know, you water your foundation, or if you know, in a lot of these areas they have water restrictions, so you can't water every day. And that's another thing that you need to be aware of. These cities are starting to fine you for, so don't think you can just turn your sprinkler system on at night in water and they won't know anything about it, because they will, and they're starting to fine people. It's a lot that's going on, that's behind the scene that, you know, we as realtors try to make sure that you are aware of. It's a whole lot.
You also want to look, when you're looking, this is again with your realtor, if there's an HOA. Everybody know what an HOA is, homeowner association? You may even ask if you're looking for a house that has an HOA, especially if you're buying new. Most of these places are called PUDs. It's a planned urban development. There's where your HOA is. But a lot of these HOAs, like in our HOA, you can't park a car in the street. Everything has to be either in the garage or on the driveway. So I mean, if you have company, obviously they can park in the street. But you know, if you have, you know, you, your wife, and 2 kids, you probably want to park in the street because you know you don't want to have your kid move the car every time you want to get out of the garage, unless you let your kid in the garage. But you know, there's so much that goes into this, and we're not going to have time to cover it all. But you know, if you have any questions, you got my card, her card. You can email us, call us. We'll help you with anything. But
and the HOA is an additional.
that is an additional fee.
Some are semi-annual, some are annual.
Yep, and here's the other thing to think about when you're buying a new house, because you guys are buying a new house. I'm in the business. I know what I'm doing, or I tend to think I do. I went, when my wife and I were looking before we found the house we bought, we went to buy a new house, we put a contract on the house. And as we're doing our negotiation, we had just drove by, I didn't have my realtor with me, and I just drove by and I went in there and talked to her. And I was talking to the lady and I said, hey, what are y'all offering for your incentives to buy? She says, well, we're giving $5,000 towards closing costs and $5,000 towards your upgrades in the design center. I said, okay. I said, I've got a realtor, what if I don't, I'm just trying to feel it. I said, what if I don't bring her in? Will y'all give me her money towards that? She goes, no, 5 and 5 is all we have. We have no negotiation room on this. I said, all right, that's fine. So I set up an appointment. I went back the next Saturday because we really liked the house. We were going to put it in contract, so I brought my realtor. She walks in there and, we're talking on the way, and she goes, what'd they offer you for closing cost seller concessions? I said, $5,000 and $5,000. She goes, I'll get you more. I said, well, she said there's no negotiation, no room, because there's so many people putting contracts in. And this is where I was naive. She walks into the office, 30 seconds to a minute tops, walks back, she goes, I got you $5,000 and $25,000 in the design center. So, that's my point. They have a job for a reason. They know what they're doing. I'm not a realtor. I didn't know, believe it or not. I do know the business, but realtor went in there and said, hey, boom, this is what it is. She got me $20,000 more for the design center for upgrades and stuff. We ended up backing out of the contract, but that's my point. Trust in the people that you build your team with because they know what they're doing and they're there for a reason.
So, like you said, the builder offers the initial warranty 1 year, 2 year, 1 warranty, right?
Say that again, sir?
There are 3 warranties the builder offers, 1, 2 and 10. 1 year everything, then
Oh, the general, and then the 2 and 10 for the structure.
yeah, 2 and 10. Are you saying we need to get additional insurance on top of that?
You mean a home warranty?
Yeah.
Well, not in the first year because everything's covered. But once and the hope is you guys buy a house and nothing ever goes wrong. But that's not realistic. In a new house, you're not so worried about things going wrong at first. But then again, a policy's $40 a month. So that's just peace of mind that if something happens to the air conditioner, it's there for you. I mean, in a newer house, it's not as bad. If you're buying an older house, you really, really, really want to focus on that home warranty because it's huge, and that'll save you a ton of money.
And you still want to get your inspections done. A lot of times
Oh,
people
yeah.
will buy new homes and they think, oh, it's a new home, I'm not going to get it inspected. That's the most critical thing because I've seen new homes with plumbing problems that are just major. The hot water is where the cold water is supposed to be. Hot water is coming into the back of the toilets. Hot water. So can you imagine? So that's crucial.
And that's the next thing we're talking about is inspections. Now that you've got you went in there, yes sir?
Can I get you to concisely explain the 2 and 10?
From the,
I don't know what
she's
it
probably
is.
done. What you're looking at is, go ahead, you know more than I do.
Okay, the first year, that's the general contract.
This is on a new build too.
On a new bill, yeah, on a new bill. And even if it's on the new bill, and you sold that house within, let's say, 5 years, that warranty is supposed to transfer to the next person because it was the first year all the way up to the 10th year. And that's why they call it a 210, 2 and 10. So the first year is the general warranty from the builder. And then year 2 up to year 10, it's general and it's on the structure, which is the foundation.
Yeah, so your first year, bumper to bumper, put it
Yeah,
that way.
everything.
Your second year, it's not your appliances.
Drivetrain.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it's your plumbing, your foundation, and your roof. Now, that doesn't cover a storm. That means if it's something, your 2 to 10 is anything that the builder screwed up on. you know, maybe, you know, like did put a little too much water in your Allen football stadium and, you know, the
Yeah.
concrete cracks and it's not livable.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about. That's your extended warranty, your pallet train per se.
And it covers settling, foundation cracks.
Settling is not covered. Settling in Texas, because we're fighting this now, is normal. To where you'll have a little bitty crack in your sheetrock, or you see the nails kind of popping through on the roof, you know, as the roof kind of settles coming out of the studs. That's normal. Now, if you have, you know, you're outside and you're brick, and you have a big crack coming down and the bricks are breaking in half, that's probably foundation. That's something that you really want to take care of.
And you
But that would be
wanna, you
covered
wanna
in
just
210.
make sure that you,
Yes.
cause I had that when I moved into my house, and they didn't wanna cover it, but I was persistent, and I kept saying, you know what, this is not normal. So I kept calling them, and finally, I guess they said, well, she's persistent, let me just go ahead and take care of this. You know, he's one of the well-known builders too, so, you know, you just read your warranties, just don't get them and just say, okay, well, I got a warranty. Know what's in them and how they affect you.
Now, once you've got your loan, you've been pre-approved, you've got your loan set up, you know what program you're gonna do, and we'll go over programs here in just a second. You've got your realtor, she's negotiated your contract, you're gonna have, like she said, that 10-day option period. And then during that 10-day option period, the first thing you wanna do before you do anything, before you go with your wife to, you know, rooms to go and pick out the furniture you want, is you want to get a home inspection. Home inspection may be the most important thing you do other than finding a house and getting a loan. Especially if you're buying a used home, even a new home, just like she said. I've seen people getting inspections on their new house, and like she said, the cold water is on the left where the hot water is, it's on the right. You know, sometimes I've seen it to where the water leaks behind the walls. It's very important. On a used house, it's huge, because they're going to pressure test your water lines to make sure there's no leaks, make sure there's no leaks in the foundation from water. They're going to take care of your HVAC system, your air conditioning. They're going to test your vents from your dryer to make sure they're clean. They're going to do everything. And the good thing about an inspection, you don't have to be there at the start of it, but you want to be there at the end of the inspection. Because like when we bought our house, he took us outside and showed us, you know, where you turn off the water in case something happened, your house was flooding. They're going to show you where the water turn-offs are. They're going to show you your fuse box and let you understand that. They're going to show you where to change the filter in your air conditioner, because most people don't think about that when you're renting, because when you're renting, you know, you may only be there every year, you don't really care about the filter. When you're in the house, you do, because, you know, that's one of the biggest things that will cause your air conditioner to screw, you know, to freeze up because it's not getting enough air. So they'll show you where all that is. They'll show you how to adjust your air conditioning. If you want more air in your master bedroom than you do in, you know, the guest room, they'll show you how to adjust all that stuff. They'll show you everything that you want to do. And that's one of the most important things to do as far as the inspection, because if something's wrong with that house during your 10-day option period, that's your time to gripe. That's your time to go to your realtor and say, look, you know, they found out that, you know, the back door's rotting, there's termites in there. We want to get, you need to put a termite inspector, or treat the termites. We want that back door replaced. The vent on the top of the house is broke, we want that replaced. That's in your 10-day option period to get all that done. Because if you go past that 10-day option period, you just lost it. I mean, you're either taking the house as it is, or you're done, you know what I mean? That's where you're going to find out anything wrong with that house.
How deep into the electrical system do they go?
You're going to check the fuse box. I mean, they obviously can't go into the walls. Our guy, he had his little, I don't know what you call them, electrical tongs. You know, he's checking all the circuits, all the outlets to make sure, you know, there's power surge, you know, power surging through there. You know, just when you get to that point, interview a few inspectors, you know, and ask them that. You know, I mean, I truly don't know. I've seen them doing a lot of that stuff, so I know they get into it, but I don't know the detail, to be honest with you. Hey, good morning.
The reason I ask is one of my brothers actually bought a house, and 3 years into it, they found out that the hot water heater was electric and it was wired half right and half wrong. So only one of the heating elements was actually working. So all that time he was wasting energy and not getting that. So I don't think a home inspector would catch that.
Yes, they would.
They should.
They would.
They should. But again, you know, it's just like, you know, if you hire somebody to come out and mow your garden. You know, some guys are gonna really take the time to edge it right and do it. Some people are just gonna mow over it and hope it, you know, when you get an inspection, that's why I say you wanna hire somebody that you trust or interview, or a friend of yours is recommended saying they did a good job, because that's really your first line of defense is that inspection. You know, because if they find out that, you know, the hot water heater's not wired right, during your 10-day option period, you can negotiate, hey, I'm gonna fix that.
Have you seen that before?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes.
As far as in the report,
Yeah.
they find that specific?
I mean, you see a lot of things. A lot of times you'll see, and the reason I know they really test a lot of stuff is I've seen it in a lot of the reports, it'll say, because you have 10 watt amps, 30 watt amps, 50 watt amps in your fuse box, and I'll get reports that says, you know, there's a 10 watt amp that should be a 30 watt amp, you know, so I know they tested in there, I don't know how much, you know what I mean? The next thing you're gonna do, now that you've got your loan, your house, you've got your inspection done, now you wanna search for insurance. Insurance is huge because it's gonna cover your house. It's gonna cover the leaks, you know, if there's a leak in your walls and your house floods, it's gonna cover it. You have a big tornado come, it's gonna cover it. We're gonna have our insurance professionals come up here and talk to us, because you don't wanna ask me about insurance.
Corey, you wanna come up here in case somebody has any questions?
Yeah.
So my name is Marissa, this is Corey,
How's it going?
we're with TWG Insurance, this is our office. We work really closely with Churchill Mortgage, Rick, and then we just met Renata. But it is really important, like they said, to have a good team, so that way they're gonna walk you through the process. And they're also gonna have trusted contacts to help you through other parts of the process, like the insurance. So once you guys are all through the loan process, picked a house, you guys are gonna need to insure it. It is like your #1 investment right now, so you wanna make sure that's insured properly. And so that's what we're here for, to go through all those questions, especially first-time home buyers, just to be a resource for you guys, to get you guys through the home closing hurdle. So we start with kind of going over coverages, just like you said, making sure that's insured properly. So if there is a fire, if you have water damage, if something else kind of happens, if you guys have vandalism, if you have theft, you want to make sure that it's properly covered. And so that's what we're here to do, is help you answer questions, go through that pretty in depth, because it's the first time and it's nothing like renter's insurance. So, and you obviously have to have it by law, and it's not the cheapest thing around. So if you're going to pay for it, you want to know that you're getting good coverage. And that's what we're going to do. Let's see here. Another way that we help out, especially when it comes in the loan process, is when you guys are trying to close, you guys are going to run into issues maybe called debt-to-income ratios. And so that insurance premium every year is really going to kind of affect whether you can get into your loan, the contract, correct? So what we do is we'll work with your loan officer and make sure that what we're providing you the premium is going to fit into those those debt-to-income ratios. So that way our insurance isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg, and that way you can't close on your home. So we work really closely to make sure that you're taken care of, so that doesn't become an issue either. Another reason why it's good to have a good team. Let's see here. Do you guys have any questions yet as far as like coverage or why it's important?
Flood. You know, that's what I've seen is like a lot of times people say, well, I have flood in my house and I call my insurance, it didn't cover it. Can you speak to that? Because that's a different kind of insurance within that policy.
Well, there's two coverages, and Corey can answer.
Oh, that's you.
So the easiest way to distinguish that is like everything, there are all types of water damage stemming from inside the house, from plumbing, from slab leaks, stuff like that is going to be covered under homeowners. All natural rising flood water coming from outside the house is going to be covered under a FEMA policy. So if it's any kind of flash flood in Texas or anything like that, I mean, that's gonna be handled with FEMA. And, I mean, literally anything that, I mean, that's the easiest way to distinguish the two. If it's coming from the outside, natural rising, it's FEMA, but anything stemming from inside the house is gonna be covered under their homeowner's policy.
So the slab, if the plumbing, within the slab, if a pipe bursts,
Correct.
so that's part of your homeowner's.
Absolutely. It's an option. You know, every policy is structured to have options. You can choose to include or exclude that, you know, when you purchase it. But yes, that has an option to cover up homeowner's policy.
I think the reason a lot of times why we work with mortgage closely, or mortgage officers so well, is because we can provide all those coverages without it costing an arm and a leg. We provide the same policy as State Farm, and all those things are covered without, you know, and you can still make it into your loan qualifications and still get the house and not have to pay an arm and a leg every year. So it's nice, and we'll walk through all those coverages with you too and explain them so that you know what you're paying for. I mean, that's really important.